This keeps me up at night. I'm serious. My heart is super heavy. I've had a lot of conversation with some of my followers. They tell me their stories and I'm appalled. I mean, this is heartbreaking. People are being taken advantage of. I'm doing this video just to give my followers a heads up, like, look for these things, protect yourself against them, and just some helpful tips to, we'll just say, negotiate around some of these situations. I'm not happy right now. The biggest offender in this category is that homeowners are signing documents, whether it be a listing agreement, a buyer's agreement, a lease agreement. They have no idea what they're signing. They don't know. The agent kind of pushes it on them. They send them an electronic copy. They don't sit down with the client to review every single word in that contract. And if you're not doing that as an agent, shame on you. Your homeowner should know all that fine print in that contract. The phone calls that I've been receiving here over the week are things like, hey, Audra, I'm not satisfied with my agent. Can I cancel the contract? What is the commission structure? They don't even know. They don't even know what they're paying their agent. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, so angry right now. We are not ever gonna sign any contract of any sort from anybody unless we know what we're signing, okay? You read every word, and if you do not know what those words mean, or you're a little unclear about the terms, then you do not sign the contract. Don't do it. You're in control. This is your house. Don't get pressured into signing contracts that you don't understand. I cannot stress how important this is. Can you guys feel like my emotion in this? Like, I want to cry right now. I mean, you wouldn't believe some of these homeowners that have signed agreements that are outrageous. An example of this is I had an elderly lady call me and said, honey, I just don't know what I signed. They just, pushed me into signing this. They had an iPad and I just kind of signed and I don't know, I kind of felt pressured and manpowered into this listing agreement. I'm not getting the feedback or the service that I want, and now they're pressuring me to take this lowball offer, and I just don't know if I should take it. I'm like, well, send me the contract. This is the scary part, okay? The commission was 10%. 5% for the buyer's agent, 5% for the listing agent. Okay, in my area, that is not customary. There were no special services, and this lady had no idea what she was signing. I mean, that is highway robbery. This does not or should not happen in our industry. Shame on you, by the way. I was so mad. I won't tell you what I did, but nonetheless, heartbreaking. Do not put yourself in this situation. A lot of agents are taught that when you go into a listing presentation, that you have to close really hard at the end and you got to get the seller to sign this contract and you're not doing your job. And then they'll make statements like, hey, do you have any hesitations of hiring me as your agent? And, the poor homeowners, like, especially the elderly ones, like myself, are like, oh, I don't know. I just kind of feel pressured. I'll just need the pain to go away. Just let me sign the iPad. Okay. No. Okay. The most powerful word in the English language, or probably in any language, is no. No, I'm not signing your stupid contract. I don't understand what's in it. I need time to think about it. And if you've done a good enough job, I might hire you, but I'm going to interview 2 or 3 other agents until I feel comfortable with what people are offering me. And by the way, I do have a list of 13 questions that you can interview these agents. You need to protect yourself. Okay, I'll link it down below. But do not sign until you know what you're signing. In my entire career, even when I was green and didn't know what I was doing, I never, ever pressured a homeowner to sign a listing agreement with me. No, it feels awful. I don't feel good about it. I want them to have the time to think about it. I want them to ask the questions. I think it's a lot more powerful to tell the homeowners, like, hey, here's the listing agreement. I want you to sleep on it. I highlighted some things in the contract that I think you should be aware of. Happy to reconvene, answer any of your questions, but this is a super important decision. And I want to give you the time to make sure it's a good fit for you. That's going to go miles, and not even that. As an agent, I go home at night feeling good about representing my clients. And if you're an agent that's not doing that, it's not going to serve you well long term. Another area that I see homeowners being taken advantage of is they don't set the terms and commissions in the listing contract up front, okay? That is the time you negotiate. This is why you want to take some time to read through the contract and come back with your agent with your questions and your demands. So the most important thing is that you need to have the highest quality photos, drone photos, videos that is available in your area, okay? Very, very important. You want to write that into the contract. In fact, I had one of my subscribers reach out to me and say, hey, Audra, what do you think of my listing? And there's literally like this agent taking a picture of the bathroom with her cell phone. Okay, cell phone pictures are no good. And the best way to sell a property, I'm telling you, is to prepare it and take fantastic photos. And whatever, I'll link down like how to prepare your house for sale, and I'll link a few videos down below, just some helpful videos if you are selling your property. But you need to negotiate your commissions up front. If they're not offering all this, then they get a reduced commission. If they're a newer agent, lower commission. Like, please, you're hearing it from me, Audra Lambert, your friend, to negotiate your commissions and set it up front. Talk about staging. Are they willing to pay for staging, right? How often are they going to be communicating with you? Like, there is no reason that your agent shouldn't be talking to you 2 to 3 times a week. And I don't care if there's nothing going on. Like, at a minimum, send a market update, right? You should be talking to your agent on a consistent basis. And that's a lot of the feedback that I've been receiving from my followers, is that they just don't get the feedback. They have horrible marketing on it. They're paying their agent a tremendous amount of money, and they feel like their agent's not doing anything. So part of that's on you. Like, you need to sit down. This is a business. You need to write that into the contract. The term of the contract also. Make it 30 days. After 30 days, if they can't sell your house, hire somebody else that can. But this is your job as a homeowner. Take matters into your own hand, negotiate well, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. So another area that I feel homeowners are taken advantage of is when a homeowner happens upon bad times or a difficult situation, whether it be a divorce or a partner passes away or parents pass away, or they lost their job and there's a notice of default on the property, and you get all these vultures in there trying to just take all they can get. And if you're selling your home and you happen upon something like this, just some little things. You don't want to let buyers have any indication that there's any issues, or we'll say challenges, because they want a deal. It's scary. It's scary how people treat others out there. So if you're divorced, like I've done this for my clients, like one of the spouses will take their clothes out of the closet, or the toothbrush and accessories on one side of the bathroom are emptied out, right? So I'll actually go in there as the agent and put some of my husband's clothes on that side, or put toothbrushes, and make sure things don't look vacant. I know that's crazy, but that's what you have to do, because there's opportunists out there. Look for it. If you are one of those homeowners that has a notice of default on the property, for whatever reason, sometimes it's just a mistake, but if you are having to sell your house with a notice of default, I would say work with your bank. I know they're very difficult to work with, but banks don't want to own your house, okay? So if you got somebody knocking on your door, giving you a solution, like in my neighborhood, there was a gentleman that had this realtor offer him a loan to help him cover the default, but then you had to give him a commission that was, above the norm, and you only had a month of this loan. I mean, it was just so insane. And this homeowner reached out to me and he's like, what should I do? I'm like, just sell it. Market's good. Like, what are you doing? Like, just get it done. It's like, oh, but all these things. I'm like, no, it's really that simple. Like, you need to reach out to people that can really help you. And if someone's trying to solve your problem and they're profiting on it more than you are, beware of that. If you just lost your job, or you're having financial difficulties and having a difficult time paying your mortgage, you don't want to rent your property out, there are some investors that will make offers to you subject to the existing mortgage, meaning that they'll make an offer. They want to keep your mortgage in place at that lower rate, 3-4%, whatever it is. And by the way, I just want to let everybody know watching this video, because I'm going to get a lot of hate with this, because a lot of people think this is really slick. And by the way, when I'm watching the videos online about this, it's mostly the young kids that don't know how hard it is out there when the market turns, right? But anyway, you have to be real careful on that, because if you are a homeowner and you go do this and you change title and they put it in a land trust and they have the trustee as an LLC, blah, 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 blah. The bottom line is you're still named on title and your credit's still at risk. So if they don't pay, the mortgage payment, or let's say you want to go buy another house, you come into a much different financial situation, maybe you get your job back, you can't go buy another property because you are still named on that mortgage. And by the way, that is violating your mortgage rules. And at this point, your mortgage company can give you a due on clause if they find out that you are not living there and if somebody else is named. And we're starting to see an increase of that happening in mortgage companies today. So don't get caught in this scam. And yes, I say scam, and yes, I'll even use the word fraud. Don't do this. And I know I'm going to get a lot of haters out there, but I don't care. This is the God honest truth. And I will do a video on this with more specifics. Don't get caught in the scam. Another area that I think homeowners get taken advantage of is that they will accept an offer with a very low earnest money deposit amount. So in my area, it's very customary to put 2 to 3% of the sales price in escrow for earnest money deposit, okay? And if you're putting a low amount down there, the gentleman that I spoke with this morning had $1,000 security deposit, meaning if the buyer backs out, he would maximum get $1,000. That's just not enough. That's probably not even covering his mortgage, his property taxes, and maybe a lease that he secured with another housing provider. So make sure that your earnest money deposit, 2 to 3%, and if your buyer doesn't want to do that, you got to ask why. And if he says, well, I just don't have it, the money for it, well, then, not very strong buyer. Okay, this next one's a little controversial, and there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with me on this one, but I don't care. I'm going to tell you what I do for my clients, and of course, I would not do this without their permission. And that is, once we receive a fully executed contract, we are required to put MLS a status change. And that status change is one of two things. It's a designation that shows either pending or active under status, okay? The difference between those two is that pending means, hey, by the way, we're taking the house off the market, we're not accepting any backup offers, but once we do that, okay, this is the important part, our days on market calculations stop, okay? If you put the designation in as active under contract, what that tells the world is, hey, we got an offer, we're still marketing, and we're still accepting backup offers. The challenge with that one is the days on market calculation keep ticking, okay? So if you were to back out of escrow, guess what? The days on market calculation have been ticking that entire time, so it looks as if the house has been on the market longer than it has. I never do that. I always put my house in pending status. I don't care if people can see it or not. People can reach out to me if they have questions. And of course, I'm not going to get under escrow unless I'm pretty dang certain that the people have every intention of closing. So if you want to preserve your days on market calculation, which is an incredibly important calculation out there in real estate, pending is better than active under contract. You're hearing that from me. A lot of people are going to disagree, but just trying to help protect you. Another area where I see homeowners being taken advantage of is that they sign a contract with long contingency periods with large escrow timelines, meaning 45 days or longer. Okay, so when I see that kind of offer come in, I'm like, why in the world does it take so long to close on a property? And why do you need so much time to do inspections? And usually it's because it's a wholesale deal, or an investor's in there wanting to assign the property, meaning that they want to find a buyer for the property, and and it's a high probability that that property won't close, okay, in my experience. So if you are a homeowner, you need to talk to your agent and make sure that those contingency periods are shortened. So in my area in California, the contingency periods are 17 days. So the buyer has 17 days to do all of their investigation and, get loan approval. Okay, that's what's hard coded into the contract. You can always negotiate that. So if I'm representing you, I'm going to move that to minimum 10 days. And if the buyer needs more time, we might extend it, but we need to see that they're putting money into the process, they're doing their investigations. But if we were to keep that at 17 days and they're not ordering home inspections and they're delaying and they're just trying to find a buyer to wholesale the deal to, you're going to know right away. So shorten those contingencies, and for the love of God, please do not do long escrows. There is a million things that can happen. Shorter escrows are better than longer escrows. Just trust me on that. Another area that I feel homeowners get really taken advantage of is that repair request. So the buyer completes their buyer's investigations, their home inspection, and they come back with, hey, we want X amount of dollars for a credit, or we want you to fix these things, or I want you to drop the price lower, right? And you've already spent 10 days taking your house off the market. You're looking for a new place to live as a seller, and you're like, you know what, whatever, uncle, let's just get the job done. Okay, so I'm telling you what I'm doing, and this is my commitment to anybody that works with me, that I am going to get a home inspection done before we even list the property. So when we receive an offer, we're going to hand that over to them and say, we're not fixing anything on this list, not to mention these are the things we have fixed, but we are not offering any credits and any repairs. I mean, this is ridiculous, folks, how things are going so crazy. In fact, a recent transaction, and I am not kidding when I give you this example, this is horrible, is the buyer came back with, by the way, our appraiser came in with 19 square feet less than what you put on MLS, okay? So I just pull the square footage off the tax assessor's website, and I write in every single one of my listing agreements, not to mention it's also populated in MLS, that the buyer needs to do their due diligence in verifying the square footage. Well, this guy wanted $10,000 extra because the average price per square foot, blah, 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 because we were 19 square feet off what his appraiser came in with. Okay, by the way, the property did appraise at value. So anyway, my point though is this is an area that I think really, I just say homeowners get taken advantage of, and it's not fair, it's not right, and the more things you do to minimize that, the better. Get a home inspection before you put your house on the market. It's probably gonna save you a lot of money. And if you're working with me, I'm gonna comp it anyway. Okay, this next one, I might lose subscribers. But I want you guys to hear my heart. My heart is to help these hardworking people protect their assets and just be smart about who they're working with, because people will take advantage of you if you're not aware of some of the downfalls or some of the pitfalls that are out there, okay? So if you're a housing provider and you're working or screening through tenants, you really need to screen them hard. So I just closed 2 leases. We asked for tax returns, we asked for bank statements, we asked for past landlord referrals if they were paying. We checked to make sure that they had a JOB. We asked for the maximum security and rent. Like when we get somebody into a house, at least here in California, you know, it's powerful for them to take possession because we have very little we can do to evict them. I shouldn't say that, but it would just say it's difficult to evict them if they decide to go nasty on us. And there's situations, you guys see I'm trying to skate around this as easy as I can. But as a housing provider, just don't get desperate and just find the first person. In fact, one of the tenants I was screening, they gave me their name, they gave me their driver's license, they came up with fake pay stubs. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? And when I called the job that they said they had, they didn't have. So, you know, screen your tenants extremely well. And I would say in the last 10, 15 years, I've never had somebody that didn't pay their rent because we were so strict on the screening process. It may take longer to lease out, but it is worth it in the long run if you screen properly. As you can see, I'm very passionate about this topic. My heart has been really heavy this week with some of the horror stories that I've heard from some of you people watching this video, actually. And anyway, I'm just trying to protect you. Now, for those of you who have never met me before, my name is Audra Lambert. I'm one of the top producers here in Orange County, California. And if you got any benefit out of this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.